it's true. Aeternum, we're coming for you. Oh, Aeternum, here we come. Hearts are beating like a drum. Treasure waits beneath the sea. In Aeternum, we'll be free.
Welcome back, the people of Aeternum. Today, we set our eyes on one of the island's most zealous and uncompromising factions, the Covenant. Unlike the Syndicate with their pursuit of knowledge, or the Marauders with their hunger for strength, the Covenant is defined by a very different kind of fuel: faith. They are driven not by science nor by conquest, but by something they call the spark. In this video, we're going to break down the origins of the Covenant, their beliefs, their structure, their relationship with the factions, and of course, their ongoing war against corruption. We'll be drawing directly from in-game lore notes, quests, and Covenant pamphlets to build a picture that's as accurate as possible. Think of this as a lore breakdown, told in the form of an audiobook, so settle in, because we're about to dive deep into the light of the spark. The Covenant's origin doesn't start with a founder, or a single charismatic leader, or even a military campaign. It begins with a revelation. That revelation is known as the spark. In the pamphlet titled The Covenant's Doctrine, we will read the following words. But where eyes fail, faith sees. The Covenant carries the spark. In our time of need, the spark carries us. Its clarity is our greatest gift. We bring the light of the spark to the darkest corners. We keep it shining, at any cost, against any foe, and one day it will shine bright enough to reveal paradise itself. This is the foundation of the Covenant. To its members, the spark is both a divine flame and a guiding truth. It is not simply metaphorical. It is considered a literal force, one that exists within the faithful, shaping their actions and their destiny. The Covenant arose from settlers who believed that Aeternum was not simply a cursed, dangerous land, as many claim, but instead a promised one. To them, the problem wasn't the land itself, it was us. Humanity's moral weakness, our doubts, and our sins blinded us to the true gift that Aeternum offered. Where some saw danger, the Covenant saw opportunity, an opportunity to cleanse, to purify, and to prepare the world for paradise. The pamphlet warns, those who live in the dark can never recognize paradise. To the Covenant, those living in the dark are not just the corrupted or the lost, but anyone, be they marauder, syndicate, or unaffiliated settlers, who refuse to acknowledge the spark. This is what makes the Covenant so zealous and at times so divisive. They believe they carry the truth, and if you disagree with them, then you're not just mistaken, you are a heretic. At their core, the Covenant is about righteousness, purity, and justice. They see themselves as keepers of the divine flame. In their own words, they have charged themselves with cleansing the land of heretics and defilers, so that its true, holy nature can flourish, and justice can be restored. This sense of duty is reflected in the way the Covenant is structured. When a player chooses to join the Covenant, they begin as an initiate. From there, advancement is not simply a matter of gaining strength, but of passing trials. Each trial reflects a deepening commitment to the spark. Each rank requires reputation, levels, and specific trials to advance. These trials are more than tests of combat. They are tests of faith. Proof that you are ready to embody the Covenant's ideals at a higher level. For example, in the Covenant Initiation questline, you are tasked with visiting the Covenant Enclave, where Florina sends you to her brother. There, you perform rites of attunement at the shrine. The quest text reads, Florina has asked you to visit her brother at the Covenant Enclave in southeastern Everfall. where he will guide you in attuning your spirit with the shrine. This is important because, unlike the marauders who induct through shows of strength or the syndicate who recruit through knowledge, the covenant initiation involves rituals, purification, and attunement. Becoming covenant isn't just political, it is spiritual. And this is where we see the covenant's central motivation: to spread the spark, to purify what is corrupt, and to restore paradise. Not someday in the distant future, no, 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 but here and now on Eternum. But faith without enemies is like fire without fuel. The covenant has no shortage of both. Their most obvious enemy is the corruption. Where others see corruption as a force of nature, a blight on the land, the covenant sees something darker: sin made manifest. To them, corruption is not just dangerous, it is blasphemous. It is the very embodiment of humanity's failure, proof of what happens when we abandon the spark. This is why the covenant takes such a hard line in cleansing corrupted areas, purging blighted settlements, and leading crusades into corrupted strongholds. For them, this isn't simply a battle for survival, it is a holy war. But the covenant zeal does not stop there. Their relationship with the other factions is equally hostile. To the covenant, the marauders represent unchecked ambition and brute strength without moral guidance. What good is might if it isn't tempered by righteousness? What use is conquest if it lacks divine sanction? The syndicate, on the other hand, are even more dangerous in the eyes of the covenant. Knowledge without faith is not enlightenment, it is arrogance. The covenant views the syndicate as the worst kind of heretics, seekers of truth who have turned away from the only truth that matters: the spark. And so, while all three factions are technically locked in political struggle, for the covenant, this war is about far more than territory. It is about the soul of Aeternum itself. But for all their confidence, the covenant faces serious challenges. Their doctrine warns that the greatest danger is not always outside, but within. In their words, moral weakness blinds us to the truth. This means that even members of the covenant are vulnerable to corruption, not just physically, but spiritually. Doubt, fear, greed, these are the shadows that threaten to extinguish the spark within. And this creates constant tension within the faction. The covenant demands purity, but we know no one is truly pure. Every failure and every compromise, every hesitation becomes a potential source of guilt, shame, or even excommunication. This is what makes them so batshit crazy, and at the same time so fragile. Their zeal fuels them, but it also makes them brittle. The higher the flame, the greater the shadow it casts. And in Eternum, shadows are everywhere. So let's pause and ask ourselves the what if? What if the covenant succeeded? What if they truly managed to cleanse Eternum, spread the spark to every corner, and establish the paradise they long for? Would it be a utopia, free of corruption and heresy? Or would it be a rigid, unyielding order where only the faithful are welcome and all others are branded heretics? Similar to the marauders, like if you can't fight, you can't be a warrior, what's going to happen to you, right? Like you can't be a part of Eternum. So with the covenant, if you don't have the spark, you're a non-believer, then what happens? The covenant walks a razor's edge between salvation and tyranny. Their belief in the spark could either be the light that saves Eternum or the fire that consumes it. And that is what makes them so fascinating as a faction. They are both heroes and zealots, saviors and fanatics, depending on where you stand. But I would like to hear your thoughts on this. And that brings us to the end of our covenant lore breakdown. The covenant is a faction unlike any other, born not from strength or knowledge, but from faith. Their origins lie in revelation. Their battles are fought in the name of purity, and their ultimate goal is nothing less than paradise itself. But will their zeal lead them to salvation or to ruin? That's for you, that's for me, the player, to decide. And personally, I think the Covenant might be the most craziest of all three factions, precisely because they believe they are always right. But that's just my view. I'll leave the judgment to you. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and if you have enjoyed this lore breakdown, be sure to join me as we continue exploring the stories behind Aeternum. We've now covered the Syndicate, the Marauders, and now the Covenant. But there's still more out there to come, though. Until next time, may your spark shine bright.
Courage true, Aeternum, we're coming for you. Oh, Aeternum, here we come. Hearts are beating like a drum. Treasure waits beneath the sea.